Have a very special guest with us today, David Kellie, the Global CEO of Natural Diamond Council, NDC. Welcome, David, to this AOJ talk show, and welcome to India.
Thank you. It's always great to be here and see many familiar faces from within the industry.
Wonderful. Straight away, we just crossed the calendar year 2022, which has been an exciting year, I understand, for the diamond industry. Could you take us through how it has been for the diamond industry globally and particularly in India, and also the outlook for the year coming 2023, how it will fare as per your estimates in terms of growth, in terms of the market, in terms of trends. So it will be a great opportunity for our viewers to understand this.
So as always, it's much easier to talk about what has happened and try and predict the future. But I will try and give you my thoughts on where we see 2023.
Right.
I think just going back onto 2022, I think it was a phenomenal year for the industry. I think in the context of the external factors that were happening around the world last year, in most markets of the world, we almost reached the same achievements as we did in our record year in 2021. And when you put that in the context of stock markets falling by 20% plus, which normally has a big influence, when you put it against the backdrop of the concern about a potential recession, I know we haven't really seen that yet, but some consumers were concerned about potential recession. Rising interest rates. We had a lot of factors that potentially could have worked against us, and yet actually amazingly we had an incredible year in 2022. I think the only real factor that was significant that worked against our industry was the situation in China with the COVID lockdowns in China. I think that's affected both the mood and the spirit of people in China, and obviously the retail's ability to remain open during the full year. So, but I think with the exception of the political and economic situation in China, I would classify 2022 as an amazing year for the diamond jewelry industry.
So I think would you be able to quantify some numbers in terms of growth, in terms of the market size globally?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have official numbers yet, but I think in the biggest market in the US, I think the market will probably end up low single digits down on 2021, which, as I said, in the context of what was happening in 2021 off the back of COVID, and then what was going on in 2022, I think it's a phenomenal year. I think Europe, I know I have less detail on Europe, but probably around the same, I would think. And here in India, the market seems to be continuing to be strong. So again, because we're still only in January, we haven't seen any kind of end of year data. But I think those, all the markets were pretty close to the 2021 numbers, if not surpassing them.
Right, wonderful. And the other thing I wanted to talk to you about was on the sustainability. What we have noticed is a significant, focus of NDC on sustainability and the benefit to the consumers and to the environment. So would you like to share about those sustainability initiatives and the thrust on this segment?
Yeah, I think we all have the honor of working for an industry that has been doing sustainability for decades, and I know it's now the current topic of conversation amongst everybody. But I think what this industry has done over certainly the last 20 years, it should be very proud of. And whether that be in the countries where diamonds originate from, and the work that is done there to support the populations and the people of the countries where diamonds are recovered from. On my last trip here to India, I went to Surat and again visited one of the hospitals up in Surat. And there aren't other industries don't do this. I think maybe we take for granted the work that we do.
Right.
But I don't know of another industry that gives back to its to both its workers, its businesses, and the countries and regions where they come from. I don't know of another industry that does that. So we at the Natural Diamond Council, it's our job to bring that to the attention of the public. The topics of sustainability are now high in the consideration of consumers. And so it's our job to talk about what this industry does, but in no way do I want to take any credit for the amazing work done by everybody else in the industry. We just have the pleasure of being able to bring those stories to the wider diamond buying consumer.
Yes, incredible. And we saw those images and the story that you and your brand ambassador being in Botswana and looking around, what kind of incredible, great work is being happening there for the people, especially who are, underground and who are who suffer most, in the world. And it's good to be giving back as an industry, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was for me. It was a very moving experience because it was my first time in Botswana as well as Lily's, but just to see how much it means to people, how everybody in the country benefits from this industry. So it was moving, but I wouldn't let that overshadow the amazing work that's done throughout our industry. I mentioned hospitals in Surat, but pretty much every jewelry store that I know, pretty much every jeweler and jewelry store that I know is doing work in their own communities. And so it's not just about the mining companies or the manufacturers. I think it's key to the DNA of our industry that we support our local communities, and whether that's a local retailer, a group of retailers, I'm very proud to work in this industry.
Wonderful. Just moving the topic a little bit towards the lab-grown diamonds. I know we are talking to the CEO, global CEO of the NDC Natural Diamond Council, but would like to know your perspective on lab-grown diamonds, especially the US market, which we understand is growing very rapidly. And you have a kind of a global perspective, and you must be taking a note of what is happening in the lab-grown segment. So what's your view on the lab-grown, how it is going to move forward?
Yeah, so obviously, as you said, my role is natural diamonds. There is so much potential in the world of natural diamonds that we haven't realized. And I always use the comparison of luxury accessories and bags and footwear that we just haven't kept a pace with. So my focus is on natural diamonds. But obviously, I'm aware of what's going on in the lab-grown industry. I think in the US market, it's reaching a level of it's reaching a new stage of maturity, I would say, in as much as there is a high consumer awareness of something existing that is lab-grown diamonds. I think from a pricing perspective, they're now beginning to understand the real pricing of lab-grown diamonds and what they are. What both the values of lab-grown diamonds are relative to natural diamonds. We're seeing, direct-to-consumer retailers selling through social media online, and with a lower price to that which is sold in many of the mall retailers. So I think with awareness comes a better understanding of the market. And I think the very fact that natural diamonds retains and actually has a growing premium versus lab-grown diamonds kind of tells you that the consumer understands the difference between the two, and that's that difference in the pricing really illustrates just the values that people put upon natural diamonds.
All right, so you see a kind of a definite role for a lab-grown diamonds in our jewelry industry, and you said USA is already kind of a matured role, probably a developing market like India. I think still a long way to go, but it has a definite place in our industry today. Let's face lab-grown diamonds.
Yeah, I mean, what that space looks like in the future, time will tell. But lab-grown diamonds are now sold in Swarovski, they're sold in Pandora. So those are very, very accessible jewelry stores. And
Right.
so what lab-grown diamonds will do is bring an accessibility to the diamond market, but that's completely different from the role that natural diamonds has in the market, which is about the long-term value and the emotional connection people would have with something that's
Right.
created from Earth 1 to 3 billion years ago. So whereas I think in the US market, maybe when it was in its infancy, people weren't really as aware of what lab growns were relative to natural and what's the right price positioning for them. I think that's is now reaching. It's not quite there yet, but it's fast approaching a position of really much clearer understanding on behalf of the consumer.
Right. Yeah, that's a very interesting perspective. Moving back to Natural Diamond Council. So, David, we have this El Rosa, who was one of your major partners in the Natural Diamond Council. Obviously, because of the Ukraine-Russia war, they had to move out, and they used to, I think, contribute big in terms of whether it is the diamond volumes or the support, financial support to the NDC. So, after the exit, what's the status, and when do you see likely El Rosa joining back to the NDC? So it's a very broad question.
Yes, I mean, I think it was very disappointing to lose El Rosa. I mean, it was for reasons beyond any of our control. We had a wonderful relationship with them. I think they've done they've participated in this industry in a wonderful way. So I think we were all very disappointed to lose them as a member.
Right.
But so what that does is that leaves us, the Natural Diamond Council, without significant levels of funding. We're still very fortunate that we retain the support of our other diamond members, but they can't make up for the significant gap in funding from El Rosa. And really, part of me being in India this week is to start the discussions with partners throughout the industry. Anybody who stands to gain from a growing natural diamond business, which is pretty much everybody in the jewelry industry,
right,
to offer them the chance to partner with us and to help support the continual growth of this industry through social media, through digital, through really advocating for the values of natural diamonds. So that's really what we're just kickstarting here this week. And we really do hope that many parts of our industry will connect with us and want to be a part of an ever growing and solidifying the strength of this industry.
So what essentially it means is that one need not be a natural diamond mining company to partner with NDC anymore. Is that what you're saying, David?
Yes. Yeah. So we'll always have our member companies will be the mining companies, but we are opening ourselves up to anybody else in the industry to partner with us. And that provides benefits in its own right, the ability to use our assets, our logos, and our educational materials. With our top partners, we create a lot of content and tell the world about the good that they're doing. So yes, anybody throughout the industry.
So it could be a cutting company, cutting, polishing, producer, retailer, wholesale, anyone.
It could be a journalist, it could be a publisher, it could be anybody.
So the first one here, right? To be
So we have you on film. You can't say no now.
You have a very passionate team in India led by Richa. It's always a pleasure to work when we talk to her, seeing her, her passion, her energy, and all her team, Aparna, everyone in the team. Must say that they're very, very nice. So we are always great to. And I'm saying the industry people, I've been talking to Richa on this, that there are retailers, there are manufacturers who will like to collaborate with the NDC and kind of add that extra credibility to their business, that they are using NDC logo in their collaterals and their website, brochures, and the retailers. I think they have a great story to associate with NDC. So we'll talk that in detail with your Indian team and see how it works and what is the requirement to be part of it. My last question is, what's your message for the Indian diamond industry, David? Since you are here in India, any message you want to give it to people who are producing natural diamonds, who are manufacturing jewelry, and who are retailing diamond jewelry?
Yeah, I think the key message is that the world is changing incredibly quickly. And I think the pace of change is something that our industry it has to keep up with, and particularly consumers. The consumer world that we're speaking to is very different from where it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It is much more about her. She's now financially independent. She's making decisions for herself, and that affects everything. She spends all of her time on digital. So the days of TV campaigns and print and from a consumer perspective, it still exists, but the influence is becoming less. She's on her phone. She's on Instagram. She's on TikTok. She's on Snapchat, Weibo, WeChat. It's a complicated world, but that's where she is. And so for me, the big thing that we all have to do is to step up our knowledge and understanding of this consumer, and really adapt what we do to her. And whether that be retailers, whether it be designers, manufacturers, marketing agencies, whoever it is, she's the one that has the discretionary income to spend on diamond. She's been spending on bags, she's been spending on footwear, dining out, iPhones. She likes to spend on luxuries. She likes to enjoy the experience of spending. And we as an industry have to make sure that we are the number one product that she wants to buy. And that just means that we, and especially men, I would say, I'm very fortunate to have such a great team all around the world, predominantly young women who are in the audience for buying diamond jewelry. Believe me, they are the ones that are showing me what they're doing, which influencers they're following, which social media platforms they're on. They are the ones that we have to listen to really understand who this new consumer is. And if we do that, the potential, it's great to hear the passion that you see in our team, because we all believe that this market is way under potentialized. It's half the size that it should be. And that if we all can share that same passion and understanding of the consumer, we have a very prosperous and exciting future to look forward to.
Wonderful. On that very optimistic note, just one last point that is probably not a consumer issue, but a B2B issue on the diamond pricing. We have seen the pricing firming up last year, and that makes the trade little bit, wait and watch. It impacts the immediate demand among the B2B. Of course, consumer, it doesn't impact much. Would you like to comment something on the diamond pricing, which got firmed up in last 1 year or so?
I mean, there's not really too much to say. So much of the pricing, unfortunately, is around speculation. The peaks and troughs are generally about emotion and people's belief that something's going to get better or get worse. It doesn't directly connect in the short term back to the consumer. Now, what other industry do the materials that make up the consumer proposition do people speculate in? Imagine if you were in the car industry or the fashion industry where people are buying the materials on a speculative basis. So really, we don't look at pricing because so much of it is short term. If we all do the right thing, if we all focus on the consumer, then this will be a very healthy market and everyone will make money. But looking at it speculatively in the short term is not something that I'm involved in, because I do think it's exactly that. We're in this for look at the long-term potential and growth of this industry.
All right. Thank you very much, David, for taking time out. And I've seen your career for the last 2 to 3 years. You've taken every challenge in your stride. You joined and you changed the name of the council, and then COVID hit, and then you came up with the new ideas, digital ideas, and the consumption has almost strengthened. So every challenge under your leadership, NDC has done extremely well, and we wish you all the very best for the future.
Oh, well, thank you for your kind words, and I say thank you to everybody in this market. It's a wonderful industry. It's exciting with potential. So we do it because we love it, apart from anything else. So, but thank you for your kind words.
Thank you.